You push the button to open the drawbridge. Following the train. Oh, I'm faster than a train. at them. This is a mining operation. No train collision set. Thân đó của anh
He just drives them out of the water. So true.
That did come a lot.
She pushed me first. She pushed me. Shaped by the same natural forces or survival needs. We see patterns all around us and look to nature for inspiration. The golden ratio, a visually pleasing proportion that appears again and again in nature, engages and inspires us. Patterns influence our music too. Our instinctive love of rhythm echoes the natural sounds of crashing waves, chirping crickets, and birds. For every pattern, every shape, every relationship, there is a mathematical formula that captures it precisely and explains it clearly. Numbers nail it. Numbers are the language of nature. They tell a revealing and elegant story, putting the patterns around you in the palm of your hand. With open eyes and maybe muddy knees, you can find a wondrous, perfectly formed spiral hidden in plain sight, right in front of you. And all around you.
Hold on, honey. Wait, did Miss Alice I'm not sure.
And beyond you. Patterns flourish all around us. Similar shapes, ratios, and relationships appear again and again.
Good luck.
We can't fully understand our world without understanding its tapestry of shapes and forms. A dragonfly's wing and the foam of your latte share a roaring rhythm. There's no bond between them. branching to deliver sap to every tiny twig. Also explains how your veins deliver blood through your body. The extraordinary patterns that touch every corner of the universe also touch us. We are a living, breathing part of this marvelous mathematical world. Mother Nature is also teacher nature. Incredible structures and patterns, molded and shaped by evolutionary physical laws, grip our imagination and inspire our creations and designs. We embrace nature's time-tested solutions, and the results are astounding. The same structure that supports a fragile soap bubble can also support a giant stadium. Everything.
Oh. I found you, Ellen. Oh. Wait, no, that's a bypass. Dollar works. Found it there again. Hey guys, found the third back. We found the third, but that goes to a bypass. We don't want that. Yeah, let's go. Oh, trees. It looks like
Be careful. Scratch on
I keep my arms up, so if I almost run into something, I won't hurt myself. No, the trick is to look down. It'll make a weird glare. Okay. No. No way. Yes. Yes.
Thankfully, the mirrors are dirty, so it's slightly easier not to bang into something.
Eyes.
I guess this is the end. Oh, thank you for fingerprints. That's a mirror. That's a mirror. Dead end. Wow, this is one trippy place. I guess see you guys.
Come here. Come on. Let's try to make a photo.
Safety is number one.
Huh. It's a very small theater for silent films. Oh, nice.
Because the reviews a fingerprint scanner and this I'm going to confirm. The remote control for your car.
Morning, Peter. Just about the light.
Screen. Hunting.
This way.
About 60 people in the world program safe times like that. And you get past them. I invented them.
I need to know if I can trust you.
You don't have to worry about me. Magnificent, this machine. 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. Who was on 6 seconds speed? It's more like it.
This is the Casino Royal Crash. Sorry. And this is the famous, I believe this was Golden Eye scene. Or I could be wrong, but this was fantastic stunt work. Sorry.
Now?
Pick it up so you can see it. What's this?
You also notice you have really cool there and off. The other thing you need is strong wind shear. It's very that you're kind of
What's the next action?
Really. I mean, it's like you're on a bench with
I thought you could walk through, but you can't. Apparently, I guess this was the railway, rail post office and stuff.
The Chamber of Commerce from Denver and the
Cargo. It's a kitchen. Oh. Have to whack the seats. I guess that's first class or something. It's nice seats. So are these. Sorry.
shine, the bubbles of the sunlight. The last word is positive. The last word is magic carpets. The cherry people over the countryside.
Wow. This is the big wig suite, I guess. Very, I guess, very posh back in the day. Oh, sorry. Oh, okay.
This one is a fixie. It's the fixed gear. And it says, with this like white box. Yeah.
There's no chain on the screen. Drive back, pedal back. So
Music. It moves us like nothing else. Music is so deeply personal. It affects our bodies on a microscopic level. Music brings us together in a shared human experience. But why? Why does music make us feel so many emotions and feel them so deeply? Let's start with what it is like to feel music, literally, with our hands. Now is your chance to actually touch music. Please move to the end of the room and place your hands on the posts. Did you feel the vibrations? You were feeling sound waves. You can remove your hands from the posts now. We can feel music physically and emotionally. Think of a time when music calmed you, excited you. It can scare us and transport us. It can make us want to dance with joy. But how does music spark our emotions? What happens physically to make us feel happy when we hear our favorite song?
Sound waves enter your ear where they are converted to tiny electrical charges. These charges travel to your brain and activate billions of nerve cells called neurons. Let's zoom in for a closer look. The neuron's job is to receive information, like music, and translate it so our brain can interpret it.
Music goes from notes to neurons. Get it? A lot happens in our brains when we listen to music. That is something we all have in common. No matter what we listen to, our brains respond in similar ways when we hear music.
Let's investigate how music affects our brains. This is a real scan of the human brain. The areas lighting up are the auditory networks, the parts of the brain that process sound. Music activates these areas. The areas lighting up now are the pleasure and reward regions. When our auditory networks communicate with the reward regions, we feel emotions. This highlighted area is the hippocampus. It plays an important role in formation of memories. We all have great memories associated with our favorite songs. When we hear those tunes, our auditory networks, hippocampus, and reward system are all engaged and our emotions surge. Have you ever felt the urge to dance when you hear a great song? Areas from different parts of the brain, the premotor regions near the top and the cerebellum near the bottom, are responsible for movement. When your auditory networks communicate with these areas, you want to move. With all of these different areas activated, Listening to music truly is a full brain activity.
No matter what music you listen to, your own brains activate in the same ways revealed by these brain scans. What's even more amazing is when we listen to music together, our brain activity syncs, making us move together and feel connected. Let's test that out. There are 5 different genres of music to pick from. Take a listen to each. Remember which is your favorite. Classical.
Okay, we're going to continue our journey into the next room.
Drumbeat of life. A rhythm we all share. Music can affect our heart rates no matter who you are or where you come from. It's universal. Music can slow down our pulse or speed it up. This happens because music activates our brains.
Everyone's change was different, but you each had a physical response to the music. Listen to another piece of music and see how you react this time.
Notice in this room that there are musical instruments scattered throughout the room. If you go stand by those musical instruments, it'll add its music to the song that's playing right now. We've got a little bit more time to explore before the video presentation starts.
We've seen how music stimulates.
And death. With Earth's abundant water supply, we should have plenty of fresh water to sustain our needs. But a closer look tells a different and cautioning story.
This one is a fixie. It's the fixed here. And it says, yeah. We expect like the white box. Yeah.
There's no chain on the screen. It's just drive back, pedal back.
When we go down, then we just start anywhere.
Music. It moves us like nothing else. Music is so deeply personal, it affects our bodies on a microscopic level. Music brings us together in a shared human experience. But why? Why does music make us feel so many emotions and feel them so deeply? Let's start with what it is like to feel music, literally, with our hands. Now is your chance to actually touch music. Please move to the end of the room and place your hands on the posts. Did you feel the vibrations? You were feeling sound waves. You can remove your hands from the posts now. We can feel music physically and emotionally. Think of a time when music calmed you, excited you. It can scare us and transport us. It can make us want to dance with joy. But how does music spark our emotions? What happens physically to make us feel happy when we hear our favorite song?
Sound waves enter your ear where they are converted to tiny electrical charges. These charges travel to your brain and activate billions of nerve cells, called neurons. Let's zoom in for a closer look. The neuron's job is to receive information, like music, and translate it so our brain can interpret it.
Music goes from notes to neurons. Get it? A lot happens in our brains when we listen to music. That is something we all have in common. No matter what we listen to, our brains respond in similar ways when we hear music.
Let's investigate how music affects our brains. This is a real scan of the human brain. The areas lighting up are the auditory networks, the parts of the brain that process sound. Music activates these areas. The areas lighting up now are the pleasure and reward regions. When our auditory networks communicate with the reward regions, we feel emotions. This highlighted area is the hippocampus. It plays an important role in formation of memories. We all have great memories associated with our favorite songs. When we hear those tunes, our auditory networks, hippocampus, and reward system are all engaged and our emotions surge. Have you ever felt the urge to dance when you hear a great song? Areas from different parts of the brain, the premotor regions near the top and the cerebellum near the bottom, are responsible for movement. When your auditory networks communicate with these areas, you want to move. With all these different areas activated, listening to music truly is a full brain activity.
No matter what music you listen to, your own brains activate in the same ways revealed by these brain scans. What's even more amazing is when we listen to music together, our brain activity syncs, making us move together and feel connected. Let's test that out. There are 5 different genres of music to pick from. Take a listen to each. Remember which is your favorite. Classical.
Okay, we're going to continue our journey into the next room.
Drumbeat of life. A rhythm we all share. Music can affect our heart rates no matter who you are or where you come from. It's universal. Music can slow down our pulse, or speed it up. This happens because music activates our brains.
Everyone's change was different, but you each had a physical response to the music. Listen to another piece of music and see how you react this time.
Notice in this room that there are musical instruments scattered throughout the room. If you go stand by those musical instruments, it'll add its music to the song that's playing right now. We've got a little bit more time to explore before the video presentation starts.
We've seen how music explain the beautiful human connection to music.
That is a mirror. But on the camera, you can't really. I guess you can see the lines there.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved
This. How does that reach one project?
Perhaps one of music's greatest powers is that no human being is ever alone as long as there is music in the air. The next time you hear music, remember, music happens in our brains, it happens in our bodies, and it happens in the space between us.
No, this.
Thank you everyone so much for joining us today.
right, folks. So on our tour today, we are going to be coal miners back in the 1920s. They weren't paid per hour or per day. They were paid per ton of coal they produced. So one of these parts would be for one miner. It holds 2,000 pounds. You're expected to fill it at least once a day, but they're probably going to try to fill it between 2 to 3 tons, so that they can make a little bit of extra money. Once it's full, that couple, there's a rotary gun going to tip it onto a scale and weigh it, and that determines your weight. So we're a little bit loud here. Which has killed countless miners over the centuries. The other major cause of it, short term, either result of it, short term, is everything is more flammable, including things like the clothes that we're wearing. We also have 2 different gases that occur naturally throughout the coal seam. They're both odorless, colorless, and tasteless, so we can't detect them with our bodies until it's too late. The first gas that we have is carbon monoxide, which will suffocate us. That's why we have our canaries down here in our coal mine. Now those canaries have teeny tiny lungs, and they are songbirds, so they pretty much never stop singing until they pass out with carbon monoxide exposure. And so when they go silent, that's how we know it's time for us to make our way out of the mine. The other gas we have down here is methane. Now methane is extremely flammable and can even be explosive. So an open flame is just about the last thing you want down here in a coal mine, especially because everything around us is all more fuel for that fire, right? Unfortunately, before electricity, bats. So there could be bats in coal mines, especially like nearer to if it's the kind of coal mine where you just kind of like walk in from the surface, they would be closer to that entrance. But bats a lot of the time stayed away from active coal mines because they're really loud. But yeah, so bats are concerned. But yeah, so before electricity, how are we going to see down here? Candles, fire, exactly. We have to bring fire down here. That is why we got this. This is called the Davy safety lamp. It was invented in 1815 by a British chemist named Sir Humphrey Davy. And what makes this a safety lamp, instead of just another fire hazard, is this mesh screen up here. That's going to slow everything down. And instead of an explosion happening all at once when there's methane, the methane will slowly trickle in, and it'll actually change the color of the flame first. It'll go from this orange-yellow color, that means we're burning oxygen, to like the blue that we see on a gas stove. So it's not just a light, it's now our methane detector. And when these worked, they actually worked really, really well. They've really saved countless miners. Unfortunately, my mesh screen here has a hole. Do you see that there, my friend? Yeah, so what do you think might happen when a broken safety lamp finds some methane? Boom, absolutely. It's a solid hypothesis, my friend. We are going to test it out, because what is a trip to a science museum without a little boom? I'm going to make sure everyone's standing outside the yellow lines on the floor. If you guys want to shift around further this way, so we are all standing in front of our boom box here.
Is it going to make a loud sound?
So it can be a little bit loud. I'm going to turn off the lights. It can be a little bit loud and a little bit surprising. But when you all see an explosion, stay low.
Oh.
You're 2 minutes late.
So what happens to our safety lamp there, my friends?
Exploded.
Exploded, right? If it wasn't in this box, instead it was around your neck or on your belt loop while you're covered in coal dust, we'd have real big problems on our hands. So even though this was an important safety innovation like we just saw, it could also become a huge danger all on its own. But that was the best that we had until over 100 years later in the 1950s when we got this. This is called the pocket methanometer. This one runs on batteries. It's going to take a sample of the air around us, and then it will give you a digital readout for how much methane is in the air. But if this one was invented in the 1950s, when do you think our safety lamps here were banned in the United States?
80s.
80s, 70s. Any other guesses?
90s.
90s? Never? It was 2001 when they were banned here in the United States. And they are still legal in countries around the world today. As we speak, there could be somebody in a Poland with something really similar to one of these. That's another part of the process of innovation. It's not just coming up with something new, it's convincing people to trust and usually pay a lot more for something that they've never heard of or something they relied on sometimes for a couple centuries. Illinois, by the way, thankfully banned the safety lamp way back in 1999. Now we've talked about miners' lives, we've talked about safety. Now we're going to see some miners and machines at work and a trip around on our train here.
They're sleeping.
Huh?
Cool.
Modern coal mining standards require maximum safety for the miner, and roof bolting is the most effective technique. Once the coal has been removed from the working section of the mine, about the size of a large room, the roof bolting machine, designed and built by FMC Corporation, drills holes into the ceiling. A bolt is anchored into the stronger sandstone above the coal seam to hold the roof in place. This drilling pattern provides a safer area in which miners can work. Without this safeguard, the roof might sag and eventually collapse. FMC roof bolting provides a safer and more permanently secure environment than former methods of roof support.
I'll let you off here in just a moment. Just make sure all the way around this pillar here. Come on down, my friends. We can get a little bit cozier in here. 1930s, everybody. Now, up to this point, coal miners have been using the same tools for well over 100 years in industrial mining. Everything started with this guy here. Anyone know what this is called?
Pickaxe.
A pickaxe, exactly, my friends. Now, miners usually see them, like in movies and things, holding these on their shoulders and then swinging away at the wall in front of them, right? They'd actually be laying on their side or kneeling on the ground, making that slice at the bottom of the wall called the undercut. That goes back about 3 to 6 feet. And the point is that it gives the coal a place to fall, so it can go down instead of exploding back out at us when we drill a hole and pack it full of explosives. But once the coal is on the ground, no matter how it got there, we're going to come back in with a shovel and fill up one of those carts you saw at the rotary dump as much as we can until we start over. And we're going to do that again and again until at least we get that 2,000 pounds. How does that sound?
Not fun.
Not fun. I agree, really. That was horrible. But thankfully in the 1930s, we got some help from these machines. First, we have this yellow one here. It's replacing our pickaxe with what's basically a giant chainsaw on the front to make that undercut. So it's very creatively called the undercutter. I'm going to turn this one on. It is pretty loud. If you want to step up closer to see it, you can. You can also take a look up in that mirror. Here goes the undercutter in 3, 2, 1. Next, instead of a hand drill and dynamite, we'll use this blue machine called the face drill. It's going to drill a hole into the coal face, but then instead of an explosive, it's going to use compressed air to break apart that coal. So it's a lot easier in a few different ways. I'll turn this one on in 3, 2, 1. And then finally, we're going to replace our humble shovel with the orange monster behind you. That is called the joy loader. Now from the front, the joy loader looks a little bit like a crab or a lobster because it kind of moves like a crab or a lobster. The big arms there are going to scoop up all the coal, send it down the conveyor belt to the other end, where either another conveyor or a cart would be waiting for it. I'll turn this one, if you can't see the front from where you're standing, we have another mirror on the upper right hand side. I'll turn this one on in 3, 2, 1. Three of them running all day long, all around you in an enclosed space like this. Miners could expect to lose up to half their hearing within just a year of working in a coal mine once we get these machines down here. And of course, anytime you're working in close proximity with heavy machinery, injuries are going to get worse and are going to happen a lot more often. To top it all off, air quality is going to get even worse than before. These pick up more coal dust, plus for the first few years after they're invented, they're running on diesel fuel. So you have that to deal with, plus the methane and carbon monoxide from the coal seam that we talked about before. The most important question, do you think we came up with something better than these?
Yes.
No.
Yes? No? We did! We are going to see that down the hallway to the noisy. All right, so welcome to the 1960s. That is when we got this machine called a longwall machine, and it's so good at its job. It's basically what we're still using to mine coal underground all across the country, including right here in Illinois. So at this point, the machine has taken over basically all of the work. We have what looks like a giant drill bit at the front that's going to shave off layers of coal left and right and drop them onto a conveyor belt that goes straight up and out to the surface. We also at this point get a bunch of new safety features, things like water spraying on the wall. That's really good at lowering the fire risk because white coal just doesn't burn that well and also keeps that coal dust down. So again, keeping us all safer. We also have a new roof support system. Now this is more important than ever before because in a longwall mine, we can clear out up to 90% of the coal down here compared to 30 to 60% in those earlier methods. That means a lot of the time, this is just about the living holding up everything above you in a longwall mine. It's also how the whole operation moves forward. So you have these hydraulic feet behind me supporting the roof. They're going to come press down, slide up, and then press back up into place in succession, literally walking the whole machine forward. Keeping this machine protected overhead and keeping any workers protected, although there just aren't that many of them these days. You're going to have maybe a handful down here at a time, and they're engineers performing maintenance on this machine. If you want to tell this machine what to do, check in on the status of the mine, things like methane levels, temperature, stuff like that, you're going to do it from a computer at a desk in an office in 2024. And that means we've taken care of pretty much all of the concerns we've had up to this point. And all of that is good news, but there actually is a major concern we haven't even talked about up to this point, and that is the cost of coal mining on the environment. Now, there has always been a cost to the environment with coal mining and any kind of mining, and this machine does very little to solve it, and it has to do mostly with how much coal we're moving. This is actually a small version of a longwall machine. It's called a short arm. It came to us from a coal mine in Ohio, and a full-size longwall that shear is going to be almost twice the height. It's going to go back between about 800 and 1,500 feet. These are massive machines. And if we're clearing out all of this empty space and the supports are moving forward, what might happen to all that empty space behind us? It collapse, exactly. That is called subsidence. On the surface, that can look like anything from an open sinkhole to the ground settling just a few inches. But even those inches can make a big difference with something like farmland or natural habitats. It can make new places prone to flooding, change the flow of waterways, even drain groundwater supplies, not to mention the effect on things like roads and buildings. And once these things happen, there's no undoing them. And once subsidence starts, there's no way of knowing if or when it'll stop. But we're still doing this. A sinkhole opened up over an active coal mine in Illinois just this past summer. So we're going to talk a little bit about why we're still doing this at our very last stop here on our tour. If you're mining underground, you're mostly using a longwall machine, like what we just saw. All right. So to our last question, what are we still doing all of this mining for? We are still mining coal for power. So here in the United States, between 15 and 20% of our power still comes from coal, although that varies pretty widely state by state. And the concerns don't stop. The concerns for the environment don't stop once we get the coal out of the ground. That's because once we get it out of the ground, we send it to our power plant where we burn it. When it burns, there's the potential to release really three main things into our atmosphere. Carbon dioxide, which contributes directly to global warming, sulfur dioxide, which causes acid rain, and fly ash, which creates smog. Now, thankfully, all three of those things do have at least temporary solutions. They're all pretty closely monitored, at least here in the States. But one major concern that we can't just work our way around is that eventually we're going to run out of coal. Estimates tend to be in the next couple hundred years. That means we have time to figure out a solution, and that starts with the alternatives we already have. Things like solar power, wind power, and nuclear power, just to name a few. None of those are perfect solutions, but complex problems have never been easy. We've still been able to solve them in the past, and we can decide how we want to power our future as we move toward it. Now that we're here at the end of our coal mine tour, we've made it. If you guys have any last questions, or if you want to check out the stuff we have in this room, I'll stick around for a few minutes. Otherwise, when you're ready to head all the way back up to the surface, you're going to head down these 2 flights of stairs here. Thank you guys so much. Strange. Oh, it's light. It's really lightweight, and it's also not
And this really huge building is the entire museum. I would say even if you don't get any of the additional, that's what I was saying, yeah, it's still very worth it even if you don't get any of the extra exhibits.